Hello and welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. Using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the deferred sales trust is the best way for you to exit your real estate, business, cryptocurrency, defer millions of tax so you can create and preserve more wealth or help your clients do the same. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swartz. In each episode, I'm joined by some of the best real estate, financial, crypto, and leadership minds in the world where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspiration. So together we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. By the way, we're also streaming on expertcresecrets.com. Hey, I'm excited about our next guest. He brings social good into smart investing, and he's a managing partner of Quest Funds, and he's renowned as a thought leader in the mortgage note investment industry. And he's generous with his firsthand experience to the benefit of many of his clients and followers. He's genuine, loyal, and passionate about creating a better world through profitable business. He works hard to share and spread success. And we're going to be talking all things about investing in performing notes as a way to create and preserve more wealth. So I want you to please welcome to the show with me, Mr. Martin Saenz. Hey, Martin, how you doing?
Good, Brett. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you give them a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Sure. In 2004, after leaving my corporate job, my wife and I decided that we wanted to be entrepreneurs and venture out and start building financial freedom for ourselves and work towards retiring early by creating passive income in our lives. So we did what a lot of folks did. We figured out what type of business we wanted to launch, and it so happened to be a federal government contracting company that my wife and I launched, selling museum exhibit displays to the federal government on a nationwide level. And so we did that out of the gate.
Fantastic. Amazing. By the way, you can learn more about Martin Saenz by going to bqfunds.com. That's bqfunds.com. And by the way, Saenz is spelled Saenz, in case you want to look him up as well on LinkedIn or something else. Hey, so Martin, for our listeners who are getting to know you for the first time, would you also give them a little bit more about maybe a gift or two you believe you've been given? Go back to your earlier days. What would you say that's a unique gift that you've been given, and how does it help how you help and bless people today?
Sure. So I would say compassion is probably my superpower, if you will, and as well as having financial acumen. So just being good with numbers, making good financial decisions, being disciplined with my finances, and so I'd say those two together.
Fantastic. And so let's keep that in mind. Those are great combination to have compassion and the financial acumen as we go into the topic at hand, which is investing in performing notes. So, Martin, what's the number one secret to investing in performing notes?
Yes, to treat investing in notes not as a novice would, but treat it as a business where you have total immersion, and you're building systems around each phase of mortgage note investing, which I would consider these four phases: acquisition, which is a sourcing phase; due diligence; asset management; and portfolio management. So really, just having your having capabilities in each one of those phases to go out and buy notes with.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I've heard a saying that we don't rise to the level of our goals; we actually fall to the level of our systems, right? So we might have these big aspirations for something, but if we're not treating it like a business and running it like in a system, there's these certain laws of business, if you will, that it's not going to go to our aspirations. So just talk about how you've been able to build your systems in a way that makes it efficient, makes it effective for yourself, for the note holder, and for the groups that you're working with.
Sure, and especially kind of working towards scalability, which everyone's always longing for. It takes systems, especially in the sourcing phase of things. What I find a lot of folks in the industry, they're good technicians and they're great at they're great at running acquisition teams through note pools. They're really good at asset management with doing homeowner workouts and other phases of the industry, but they fall short from the sourcing perspective because they don't have proper systems in place by which they are, on a daily basis, sourcing new deal flow from note sellers that are in the industry.
What's the number one way you found to source new deal flow?
First, start with focusing on one's identity. So you really know how you need to operate in the space, what your buying parameters are, what your limitations are financially, what your resources are at your disposal, what you need to outsource, that kind of thing, and then move that into marketing and branding, so that your marketing represents who you are in the industry and what you're looking to accomplish. And then from there, you can go into a CRM system, building an outreach matrix by which you're going to be forming daily rituals of outreach to note sellers.
Got it. So it's really qualifying who you are and what you stand for, and also what your company's providing as a service, but as well as qualifying what is it that you're looking for. And so would you talk about a little bit of the difference of how you guys are, or what kind of loans that you're looking for, and how maybe an investor can get connected with you, and kind of the framework of what you guys are going through to make sure these deals are good performing notes?
Yeah, absolutely. Staying in our lane, I'd say first and foremost is what's critical. You look at so many funds in the industry, in the especially alternative investment industry, and they have 10 pillars. They do it all, and multifamily, self-storage, raw land. I mean, and the list there's a laundry list of things that they do. And so you really can't serve all those masters. You really should just, in my opinion, kind of do one thing or do two things and do it to the best of your ability. And for us, it is buying mortgage notes. We have one side of our company. It's a hedge fund that buys distressed mortgage notes, where we connect with the homeowners and create loan modifications to help keep these homeowners in their homes with payments they can afford. And then we have another entity called Bequest Funds, which operates as a 506c Reg D income fund. And we buy performing mortgages into that income fund at yields of 11 to 13%. And we pay out our investors at annual preferred returns of 8 to 9%. And we make our payments on a monthly basis.
That's fantastic. That's really great. And are the 506c Reg D deals, the 8 to 9? Talk about the underlining assets, right? Homeowners been through Fannie Freddie on the underwriting, maybe got into a tough spot, and then now you're getting them back at a discount. Talk to us about that, because that 8 to 9 is really attractive, Martin.
Yeah, we think so, especially in these inflationary time periods that we're in, and everyone's seeking yield. Really, the heart of the asset class is that, like you mentioned, these are bank originated mortgages. Something occurred in the homeowner's life. These are, originally they're A paper. They have high credit scores, these individuals, but they had a health issue, or they ran into a love crisis, and they got divorced. Some occurrence happened, and so they stopped paying on their mortgages. And the banks or lending institutions, they bundled them in these distressed mortgages into tranches and sold them to a hedge fund in the secondary mortgage market for 20, 30, 40 cents on the dollar. And these hedge funds take these mortgages and make connection with the homeowner and work out payment plans and loan modifications. And what happens as a result is these people, these homeowners, are back on their feet now. They got their job back, they got their health back, they got remarried. And so now they're making their payments, according to the new payment schedule. And they go through what's called a reseasoning or reperforming time period. So after 12 months of on-time payment or 24 months of on-time payment, Bequest Funds, our income fund, buys those assets into our income fund at 70, 80 cents on the dollar, or 60 to 80 cents on the dollar, rather.
Perfect. That sounds great. And so a minimum amount for investors, accredited investors, time in the fund. Give us a little bit about that. If I put $100,000 in, it's 8 to 9%. That's cool. Is that the minimum? What's the minimum, and how long does that have to stay in there for?
Yeah, so it's $50,000 is the minimum buy-in. You have to be an accredited investor, as it is a 506c Reg D income fund. So you do have to meet those requirements. As far as the time commitment period for the 9-year annual preferred return, there's a 4-year time commitment. For the 8% annual preferred return, there's a 1-year time commitment. And we also have a 6% option with a 6-month lock-in as well as for people that need more liquidity.
Okay, and then talk to us a little bit about the foreclosure rate. So how many of and also the average LTV and the average credit score
Mhm.
of the borrower. So what do those stats look like?
Yeah, so in terms of collectability with our fund, I mean, that the LTV, which we term investment to value, those are two metrics that we look at on a daily basis. Our controller is monitors that performance, and we actually have a big monitor in our office that has all those metrics that everyone can see on a daily basis. So what we look for with investment to value, and we call this out in our PPM for Bequest income funds, is we look for a 65% investment to value percentage or below. And so what that means is if there's an asset, if there's a home that's worth $200,000, we will be into that investment no more than $130,000. So that if the homeowner did stop paying for whatever reason and refused to, enter into discussions, we will be forced to foreclose on that property, and we'll have equity coverage to recoup our investment in that asset.
Okay, perfect. Got it. So 65% LTV investment to value.
Hmm.
Um, and then 9% is a 4-year commitment.
Hmm.
8% is a 1-year commitment. 6% is a 6-month commitment. Um, what if someone says, Martin, I put the money in and it's 3 months goes by and I'm like, oh no, I need the money. Like, what's the surrender charge, or what happens there if that happens, or is it just not an option?
It's best effort. I mean, we did have one person that put in the minimum, and they had a family emergency and needed the money out. We cashed them out. I mean, if we have the money at hand, and we usually keep them at least $1 million in the bank with the income fund. So if someone had a dire emergency, I mean, we're investors. We're people with families. I have 4 children, and so I get it. And things do happen, and we'll do the best that we can to redeem. We very seldom have that occurrence. Most of the people that come in the fund, just stay in the fund, and
Got it.
things go how they need to go. But I did want to address you. You mentioned collectability and the performance of the mortgage fund, so I did want to address that as well, because you have that one side, which is capital preservation and LTV, ITV. What are we doing to ensure that we can recoup the investment in case it goes south? We have not had to foreclose on any loans in Bequest funds to date. And as far as our collectability percentage for our portfolio, we're at 97% collectability, which is extremely high for the industry that we're in, and we're very proud of that. I attribute that to the compassion that our asset managers have in their ability to build deep-rooted relationships with the homeowners.
Excellent, excellent. Sorry, we had a little pause there in the system. It went a little dark on the streaming live. We're streaming live
Yeah.
on YouTube, by the way, Capital Gains Tax Solutions channel, and also the Expert CRE Secrets channel. And you can you can subscribe, rate, review. If you're enjoying the show, share this with somebody. We're talking about investing and performing notes with Martin Saenz, and you can learn more about Martin at bqfunds.com. bqfunds.com. Last question on kind of the investing payouts. Is it monthly, quarterly? When are these payouts happening?
Yeah, so payouts are on a monthly basis, and that's just kind of our philosophy and our mindset here is that investors, and I'm the largest investor in Bequest funds myself. So this is about creating a legacy for myself and my family, my partners, family as well, and so we have expenses on it coming into us on a monthly basis. So we need to pay out our investors on a monthly basis, especially given that we're collecting these mortgage payments on a monthly basis. So it just all makes sense to do it that way.
Perfect. And I know before the show, Martin, we were talking about you sold a business. You built up a business, you sold it. Part of what we do here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions is we encourage and coach people on how to defer capital gains taxes and provide the trustee services. There's something called a deferred sales trust. But I'm curious,
Mhm.
when you sold your business, what was your biggest frustration with the capital gains tax? Anything there that you want to share about how that all went down?
Yeah, yeah. So we got 25% down and we took back a business note for 75%. So I guess in a way we deferred some capital gains that way and doing a note kind of stretching out the income. And so I think that's it. I mean, I remember you're asking me to kind of dig back a deep, but this was 9 years ago. We structured it with goodwill. I guess goodwill is the portion you assign to that is going to be ordinary income, and the portion you assign to what the FF&E and things like that are capital gains. Is that?
Yeah, there's some stuff there. The biggest thing though, and you mentioned it, people do traditional seller carrybacks and they'll finance the buyer. And your scenario, it sounds like they put a 25% down payment and then you carried the 75. And it's neat because you get some short-term deferral in the tax because you haven't
Mhm,
received that 75 yet. But eventually they pay you back and you pay the tax. The difference between what we do, which is the deferred sales trust, is it's still an installment sale, but the difference is you can have that note go for as long as you want. And
mhm,
you also have access to the capital the next day to go put it into a new business, such as a
mhm.
bequest or a real estate deal
Yeah.
or a ground up development or stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You can diversify. So you're not tied to that single person, right? And you're also not going to get paid off in a short period of time and owe the tax anyways. And so we
Mhm.
call it the Netflix way of doing things, Martin, versus the old Blockbuster, right? And for those who want to learn about all of this, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. And we also have our free mastermind every Friday on the deferred sales trust. Totally free, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And by the way, I'm coming out with my book, Building a Tax Deferred Exit Strategy, the proven playbook for unlocking your ideal wealth plan when selling any asset of any kind for yourself or your clients. And by the way, I know you're in Sarasota, Florida, and one of the
Yeah.
gentlemen that's actually the first chapter of the book. You may have heard of him and may have seen him in some of the driving down the street because I think that's where he resides. Is a gentleman named Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank.
Mm,
And anyways, he's in Sarasota and he's in the first
okay.
chapter. So any thoughts on anything I just said, Martin? Maybe it might be brand new to you.
Yeah, I think that's more on the brand new side. With capital gains, we experience capital gains on the note side when we receive payoffs. For the most part, all the interest income from the monthly payments that come in are interest income. So it's basically ordinary income. But one thing that we did do when we set up the fund is we rolled down the proportion of capital gains that the fund receives as total income to the investors individually. So what that means is about 25% of the income earned in Bequest as a company is capital gains. So on the investors' K1 statements, 25% will reflect capital gains and 75% will reflect interest income. So it's a little bit of a tax benefit.
That's cool. That's smart, right? It's all about the structuring and the planning of all of these things, right? And so if you have $1 million net proceeds, $1 million gain on a deal, you qualify for the deferred sales trust. But if you're structuring your deals, you always want to get with professionals who can help you structure your
Mhm.
fund in a way, your deals in a way that can be the most tax efficient, right? Because it's not just about what you make, it's what you keep at the end of the day.
Mm.
And so your taxes are a big part of that. 30 to 50% capital gains, depreciation, recapture, depending on the asset, depending on what state you live in. So keep that in mind. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to get started on all of that. That being said, Martin, are you ready for the lightning round?
I am indeed.
All right, here we go. Knowing what you know now, if you can go back to your 25-year-old self with the one golden nugget, make sure to tell yourself to do.
Don't invest for appreciation. Invest for cash flow.
Second question, what's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
It would be 10x Rule by Grant Cardone.
Excellent. Yeah, Grant's amazing. Next question, what are you most curious about right now?
Tax avoidance. So I got a big, yeah, every year it's getting harder. So we're looking at acquiring some office space now and some other real estate acquisitions to get with cost segregation to take advantage of
Yeah,
that.
Grant Cardone has the number one video I think on that. By the way, he does one. If you guys look up Grant Cardone commercial real estate taxes on YouTube, and it's a video that I literally watch. I try to watch it like once a week because he does such a good job of breaking it down. And so look up Grant Cardone,
Mm,
buy CRE to save taxes. It's a 13-minute video, and I'm telling you, watch that. And it reminds me of what it's a good reminder from everybody. Robert
mm.
Kiyosaki said the purpose of owning a business, right, is to buy real estate. And once you change your mindset to the purpose of a business is cash flow or this or this or that, yeah, that's fine. But it's actually to buy real estate. And here's why: because once you be successful and you scale up, you're gonna get hammered with taxes. So unless you have tax depreciation to offset your taxes, and there's a thing called real estate professional, a thing called cost segregation, accelerated depreciation. You're gonna get hammered, right? Even though Martin's in Florida, I'm in California. He's got one of the more friendly tax states, but still, like you got to be aware of that, and you got to know how to play the game. And Grant Cardone does a great job of breaking that down. Any last thoughts on that, Martin?
No, I want to check it out as soon as we get off here.
Yeah, it's
So
a
I'm a
great.
student. I'm always learning, and
Mhm.
especially the more money you make, the more you need to learn.
Yep, exactly. So check that out. The next question is this: number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by.
Yeah, so I think it's the golden rule, like do unto others, as you would have them do unto you. And so just treating people with respect, treating people with courtesy. I think so much of that like is lacking in our world where we're just kind of like everyone's straight to the punch. Everyone's can be kind of short with each other, especially on social media. And so like I've gotten off Facebook, and it's just I've kind of like just trying to keep other people's perspectives in mind when I'm working with people. Be
Excellent. Last
respectful.
question, and we'll let you go.
Mhm.
By the way, make sure you plug your book as well. Um, how do you stay centered in your values after all your success, making, helping a lot of people, making, building a lot of wealth? How do you stay centered? What's the habits that you try to do to stay centered in your values, and then encourage to charge
Mhm.
forward to reach for new heights?
Yeah, so I wake up and I pray and I meditate, and then come in. I read a few pages out of the Bible every morning, and so I just try to keep certain daily rituals in place. I look at all my accounts on a daily basis, so I keep in touch with my finance on a daily basis. And but really, the biggest lesson in humility was in my earlier years in self-employment and just getting hammered financially, and just getting hammered every which way. And that's kind of grounded me during the good times.
Yeah, so the 2008 crash really made people rethink a lot of things, and don't forget, right? Because things are highly appreciated right now. Be very cautious. Well, Martin, I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to thank you for sharing so much wisdom with us, the opportunity that BQ Funds provides. And I want to encourage you to keep using the gift of compassion and your finance acumen to help people create and preserve more wealth and get some freedom through investments that aren't traditional stock market stuff, right? And that are consistent performing notes that seem to be very low risk. Again, go to bqfunds.com,
Hmm.
and any last words? And also plug your book, Martin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Note Investing Made Easier, and also Note Investing Fundamentals. I'm also proud of that book as well. But reach out to me at martin@bqfunds.com with any general questions. It's not about, hey, you can only reach out to me if you're going to be a potential investor. I'm beyond that. So if you have questions in general about entrepreneurship, if you think that I can help you with anything you need, reach out to me.
Awesome. Thanks, Martin, for being on the show. And thanks for everybody for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy to defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax and sale of your business, real estate, cryptocurrency, save a failed 1031 exchange is a great way to create and preserve more wealth. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com for that. Also, want to plug that I'll be speaking at the Best Ever Conference in Colorado coming up on February 24th to the 26th. This is Joe Fairless, Ashcroft Capital, and a ton of other really smart people that I get a chance to be on the stage with, which I'm totally humbled and honored by. And so I'll be there, and I'll be there promoting my new book that's going to be released here on Amazon here as well very, very soon, Building a Tax Deferred Exit Strategy, with people like Kevin Hamilton from Shark Tank and so many others. So make sure to be on the lookout for this book that's coming out. And we're also streaming on Expert CRE Secrets, so we don't forget about all you folks out there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Please rate, review, subscribe. And if we can help you in any way as well, like Martin said, reach out to us, Capital Gains Tax Solutions.